Hi, my name is Tracy Brown, and I am a 2D visual artist from Tucson, Arizona. I've lived downtown since I moved here in 2007. I moved out to the desert to teach art and make art in 2007. I didn't think I'd stay here that long, but I really kind of fell in love with the landscape, culture, and people of Southern Arizona. And it was just really good living for quite some time. I am really happy that I've been able to have a studio in the basement of Solar Culture for 12 or 13 years now. And just to be able to be around like a lot of supportive people and artists and such a like cool, chill community to make art in. My favorite tools are probably acrylic paint. If you see my studio, you will see it is a basement studio. It doesn't have a lot of windows. When I was um, really interested in art and in college, I really loved oils and working with them. But the way that I work, it just doesn't work in the basement without ventilation. And also, I like to work quick. So I kind of like the immediacy of acrylic paint. I also like to do um, like a lot of collage work. I haven't been doing it as much, but I like to take images from magazines and kind of alter them and then reinterpret them into my vision and style of a painting. And you can see some examples of those if you scroll down my Instagram. And I also really enjoy altering historic texts. And I do this to bring attention to the underrepresentation of women throughout art history and to like the continued like gender struggles within major galleries, museums, and institutions to this day. Uh, I would love to expand on those ideas and continue with that, but I also really love painting. I feel like I have like two different modes of painting, and one of them is like altering these images and maybe repainting them in my like filter, which I do with collage, but also like painting right into the textbook. Part of that inspiration has been being a teaching artist and basically like using some of the texts that I find in my art history collection, my supply closets, and just growing up and not seeing a lot of imagery that represents women as a creator or create like a creative genius or master. Women are often depicted as like the model or object of desire in a painting. Women usually are depicted nude in a lot of high galleries and museums. And yes, they do exist in some of these places at times, but we're just like the numbers are really low. So I just really, when I was younger, I got into feminism and I studied women's studies in London for a while. And I, some of the things that I was going through developing as a young adult, teenager, and young woman, I was trying to understand like what this feeling I had inside was and where it was coming from. And granted, like through the years, learning about our structures and systems and how they're connected and like society and family structures and um, the images we consume and the messages we consume, it really helped me to work through a bad like a difficult body image and eating disorder that I had struggled with. And it still comes up for me. It's not something that's completely ever fully healed, but I began to take these images found in high fashion magazines and paint into them to kind of show the monstrous side of this industry, and not just to like pin it on that industry, but just like our visual culture and how um, women are repeatedly depicted as sexual objects in a way that like it really gets into your mind, and it's hard to separate wanting to aspire to that ideal and just like wanting to be a powerful person who has the time and mind space peace of mind to be who you are and do the work that you love. um, of course, it's a growth thing. And I think the more work you do on yourself, the older you get, the less you are stuck in these um, ideologies and limiting, often self-limiting um, mind, state of mind. But it's definitely a struggle that really consumed me as like a teenager and a young adult. And I think often about how, had I taken the energy that I put into that obsession of being thin, not eating, or just restrictions that I put on myself, I could have put all that energy into my art or being an activist or helping people or just like connecting with people in general. So when I create my work, it's a way for me to connect and to express this energy that it's inside of all of us artists. And you know, it wasn't nurtured as a child that I could be an artist and, you know, um a powerful artist at that. And uh this is so hard to explain sometimes, and I'm actually explaining it to myself right now, but I use my art to communicate an expression within me that I felt was restrained for a really long time. And I think that a lot of people can relate to feeling these ways. And for me, it's pretty amazing to be able to take all these internalized feelings and just, you know, maybe that's not always going to be clear in every image that I create, but there's a thematic connection. And I feel like if you keep doing your work, you know, you can see your essence within that work. And I like to use bold colors and just like expressive lines and um, almost like I like pop art, expressionistic art. I don't know. I just, it's my style. And I think everyone has their mark. And I hope that when people see my work, they can see it. And like I said, I think I have like two kind of like parallel bodies of work that don't necessarily look completely the same, but I think that their theme comes together. And that's what's most important as an artist, is that like your themes or there's some kind of cohesive element in your work. And that's what I strive towards, is creating this cohesive element in my work. It's really easy to try to like go on some tangents where maybe I'm painting more portraiture and whatnot, but you can still see those elements in my paintings. So yeah, I grew up outside of Detroit, and how that affects my art is, you know, I grew up in pretty like the schools I went to were pretty supportive of arts overall, and we got to, you know, have art every week. And then in high school, middle school, I had art, and I knew from a young age that I wanted to be an artist, and that turned into being a teaching artist. But one of my first inspirations was walking into the Detroit Institute of Art and seeing the Diego Rivera Detroit car industry factory workers, and I just, that was one feeling that really stuck with me, as like how powerful art could be, and like how art can convey a message, and how cool it was that art could say something. And I think that was always like most important to me over like traditional skills and technical talent per se, although Diego Rivera is extremely technical talent, traditional, whatever. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I didn't always think of myself as like a very skilled artist, and it took me a lot. I just needed to keep creating it to get my feelings and expression out. And now I would consider myself more of a skilled artist at the age of, you know, 41, but in my own way. And I think that's what makes art most fascinating and interesting, is seeing how the art embodies the artist's spirit and creativity, and it's unique to them rather than just mimicking or, you know, impressing upon like some standard of beauty. Just like some of the ideas I'm talking about, it's like there's so much more richness within the journey of an artist and a journey of a human being's connection and human beings experience throughout this world. And I feel like art is one of the purest ways to express this energetic bubble of, I don't know, it's just pure expression, and it's something that needs to get out. And if it doesn't get out, it's devastating. It's depressing. It's very negative, and I live more in an optimistic, positive, I try to, world and level. But yeah, art for me is just expressing this undescribable uh undescribable desire and need to be human and feel and visualize and hope for a more just world and all means for all humans. And I think that some of the greatest art is just purely an expression of the artist's life and things that they care about, or maybe a unique way of seeing the world. And I hope that comes across in my work, and I hope that people can connect with it. And I just want to say thank you for listening to me talk about my work here. Let me see what else I can talk about. What do I absolutely need in my workspace to feel inspired, comfortable, and challenged? Well, I absolutely need light. And I need, if you can see the background, this is just a background image of my work or my studio. I love how clean it is right now. I don't necessarily need that. I kind of like the idea of like paint getting all over the floor and like, on the walls, and just like the messy chaos of it all. But when I do clean and organize my studio, I feel a lot more ready to work. It's kind of like anything in life. Like when I clean my house, I feel more ready to conquer the day. It's that idea of everything has a space, but I get told by some people or that I could be more orderly in my studio, although it looks really nice right now. But to me, it's just like, don't nitpick. Just be you and just do your shit. Do you, sorry. What mediums have I moved into or out of? Well, I don't solely really like working in just specifically collage anymore. If I'm going to do it, I like to use it as like a starting point for inspiration. And I like to repaint and recreate that world of whatever I'm saying. I used to do a lot of ceramics. I actually, when I was in college, I was more of a ceramicist. And I think it's because I didn't feel super confident about being a 2D artist, even though I had a lot of things to say and I had a lot of interest in drawing and painting. And then when I moved on, I don't know, I didn't really hold that space in my world of like what it was like to have clay and like access to a clay studio. I would like to go back and maybe like translate some of my works into three-dimensional like clay, or maybe even like 3D printer form or whatnot. But yeah. And I used to work in oil paint a lot more, which I would like to go back to that too if I had the proper space and time for it. Is my workspace open to friends and family, or are you usually here by yourself? I'm usually here by myself. Definitely have had over the years lots of friends and family through here and open studios, but mostly just myself. To me, it's like my sacred time. It's how I recharge, and it's where I meet this need that can't be met somewhere else. And I prefer to do that alone. But I definitely have had people and friends in my studios throughout the year, kind of like working a little bit next to me, but not too much, mostly just briefly. How would I describe my workspace? Aesthetic, bright and bold, colorful, well lit, energetic. When I walk into my studio, I just feel energized instantly, especially if I haven't been there in a while. It just really lights me up. my latest creative process. Well, lately I've been kind of taking some of my altered histories images and projecting them onto a canvas and kind of altering them again. Working a little larger. I love working large, and I really wish I had more space to store these larger paintings or more collectors to collect them. So I tend to work a little bit smaller because I'm just able to share those works in the world more and to collect them and hold on to them easier. But my dream is to work at a larger and larger scale and have places to house them so that they're not just like accumulating in my storage space or the collector once or twice a year that wants a larger painting, which I'm super appreciative to, but I would love to be able to send more of my larger works out into the world for sure. What would I like people to feel when they engage in my work? I'd like them to get a sense of excitement or just like energy around like what is going on in these works of art. I have found that there is like a audience that connects with my work that gets really an exciting energy, and like when someone connects to my work in a way that it inspires them, it really inspires me back. It's like this symbiotic connection, and I love that when someone says they really connect to my work. To me, that's like the ultimate um, purpose of being an artist. I mean, other than that, like moment of creation and having to get it out, and someone connects to it and finds meaning in it and wants to like own it or collect it or put it in their home, that is so inspiring. And I'm so great. There's so much gratitude and thankfulness for that. And I wish I could just share my work with everyone who would like to collect it. And I don't know, it's just the paintings, they take on their own life, and I love when people find meaning in them that maybe I didn't even necessarily know I was creating, or like maybe it means something different to them than it did when I created it. Or I love that about art, how something just connects to you and grabs you, and you have to own it, you have to have it. You need it in your world, and that to me is so cool. The way that people can engage with my work is like by attending my open studios, uh, doing my artist markets. I tend to do the Made in Tucson markets. I do a couple markets at the Annex every summer. And then I have work in gallery. I have a few works at in La Matadora Gallery in Joshua Tree. I have work at Artemisia Foundation in Bisbee. It's an amazing museum that's opening at the end of March. It's been one of the most exciting projects I've ever been involved in. The whole premises of the museum is that, and the museum or owner Sloan, is that gender equity and just equity in the arts is a big deal to their mission statement and representing underrepresented artists. And there's just like all amazing collection. I was so excited and honored when he invited me to be part of their mural labyrinth this fall. And it's just been a really wonderful experience working with Artemisia Foundation. And I would really encourage anyone who's going out to Bisbee to check it out. You'll be blown away by the art in this collection and just the mural artists and the labyrinth. And Sloan's an awesome supporter of arts and female artists. And yeah, I just couldn't say more about how great this museum is. And I'm just so excited to be part of it. Thank you. This is long. I might edit it. I might not share it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I appreciate you listening. I love getting inquiries about my art or just like messages. I return my instant messages and Instagram or email. So if you have any questions or would like to make a private tour, if you're interested in any particular works, let me know. I don't have everything posted on my website that's for sale by any means. And most of my works are available in limited print, and I have a lot of stickers and prints and etc. So thank you for being interested in art and in my art. Have a great day.